Hey guys, this is a long playing review for Zap T Balls on the Amstrad CPC, and this is a request from Missile, and I've finally got around to doing this. And following on from this video will be the next game in the series, Zap T Balls, the Advanced Edition, which is actually a lot better than this one, but this came first, so this is what we're looking at now. And yes, this is a public domain release, guys, which is why you didn't see sort of any box art at the start of this video. Public domain, basically, it's free to distribute as long as you don't sort of crack into it and sell it on for profit. And yes, this was made by Elmar Krieger, he who went on to eventually make for Titus Software the absolutely fantastic Super Cauldron and Prehistorik II, which are two of the best games ever for the Amstrad, and probably the last two ever commercially released as well. So yeah, this is his first foray into sort of gaming, really, game programming. As you can see from the gorgeous title screen, he obviously was a keen demo writer, and lots of nice sort of raster effects there. And you will see lots more sort of demo effects on the next video, Zap T Balls, the Advanced Edition. But basically, guys, this is a Pang clone. And as you can see, you control a guy at the bottom of the screen there. He's got a gun and he's bursting bubbles, which either split in two or decrease in size. And these first few levels are kind of an introduction to how things might play out. As you can see on this level, they're now splitting in two. The main difference from Pang is that the when you burst a bubble, it doesn't sort of bounce higher in the air, it carries on its trajectory, which was already confusing at first, because I'm a big fan of Pang on the Amstrad. It's one of my favourite games, certainly probably the best game on the Amstrad GX4000. Oh yes, I'll come on to that in a second. So this took a lot of getting used to. But yes, of course, this was basically, as I said, it's a Pang clone, and Pang only came out on the Amstrad GX4000 console, or for the CPC Plus machines on cartridge only, and used sort of the Plus features, such as hardware sprites and scrolling and stuff. And so, you know, poor old normal Amstrad CPC owners were unable to sort of experience and play Pang. So Elmar Krieger took it upon himself to do a really stonking version for the just the normal Amstrad CPC 6128. I think this is 128K only, so I don't think this will work on a normal 464. Yeah, it's 128K only, so well, really you need a disc machine and 128K of memory, of course. But as you can see, apart from that, the lovely graphics, you know, nice background art there, I think the real main thing about this game is just how smoothly sort of the sprites move, and how fluidly and how quickly. I think the one thing that Elmar's very proud of in this game was basically the clever sprite routines he worked on here and implemented to excellent effect. And there's absolutely no slowdown in the game. And it plays really well. Like I said earlier, it took a little bit of getting used to if you've played Pang a lot. And personally, I still prefer Pang, because it had a sort of a range of enemies, you know, like birds flying across, occasionally, and crabs. But more importantly, sort of different weapons and power-ups, different types of guns, some that shoot bullets, some that sort of like shoot a thing at the screen that sort of stays permanently in place. But the variety is kind of addressed in the next game, which is Zap T Balls, the Advanced Edition, which I'll either be uploading later this morning or probably more likely tomorrow morning now. And that's well worth a watch. It's a very, very long video, it will be. It's probably going to be over an hour long, whereas this is only sort of 30 minutes, as there's only 30 levels in the game. Whereas the Advanced Edition, I think, has about sort of 60 or 80, I can't remember now. And it's taken me a heck of a long time to do because it's a real swine. It's certainly not easy. And well, at least you do get a fair amount of lives, and there's also a password system. Sort of, I think it's usually every 2 levels you get a password. Now, I mentioned earlier there was no slowdown. I've just noticed while I'm sort of recording my commentary whilst watching the video, and maybe a few jitters here and there and slowdown. I'm not sure if that will come out when I've on the final version when I've encoded it or not, whether it's my PC playing up. But yeah, there's certainly no slowdown or jitter when in the game. Now, there was a bit of controversy at the time of this release in the Amstrad magazine, the main one anyway that was still around at the time, Amstrad Action, which didn't give this a massively high mark at the time. I think they marked it down for sort of well, they marked it harshly against Pang, really. I think they're quite right in saying it's not as good as Pang. But marked it down for its variety and things like that. And I think that was kind of addressed in the Advanced Edition. But there was a lot of people on the scene at the time that were very, very unhappy with Amstrad Action for not giving it a massively high mark. I think I still gave it in the sort of 80% range. And to be honest, I kind of agree with them. I think if I'm going to give this a review score, it's probably going to be about an 8 out of 10. Whilst it is very, very good, it's also quite frustrating. There's a couple of bugs in places where balls kind of get stuck and you can never get them. It only really happens on a couple of levels. Some of them could have done with being thought out just a little bit better. But yeah, I kind of agree they could have done with a bit more variety, especially when you're sort of competing against Pang. But hey, it's asking a lot of a public domain game, which is essentially free, you know. So the only cost you would have had was probably sending off a blank disc to someone. You ran a PD library, self-addressed envelope, and then you would have an excellent game like this. So you can't really complain too much. I still think this is absolutely a fantastic effort and game, and still great fun. Pang never really seems to age at all. In fact, I think it would make a pretty decent game on like a mobile sort of handheld system, you know, like an iPhone or whatever. Could do some really interesting stuff with the touchscreen controls, maybe. Would work very well as a I don't know, an iPhone kind of game, or even sort of a flash game you could play on Facebook or something. Oh yeah, guys, there is simultaneous 2-player action. I've not shown it in this video, but you will see it in the next video, which is the Advanced Edition. And yeah, you'll notice that like the background graphics haven't changed here. It's the same throughout the game. On the Advanced Edition, there's lots of lovely backgrounds and things like that to look at. Different music as well. So yeah, if you're only going to be watching this far of this video, definitely do check out the advanced edition, my next video, because that's got some really impressive stuff in there. And he does sort of tweak the gameplay and add lots of kind of new features in there. A lot of this though is just sort of being patient, really. Sometimes the best method is to sort of concentrate on the smaller balls, which can sort of bounce through smaller gaps and more likely to sort of surprise and get you. And if you've got enough time on the clock, then yeah, sort of try and keep the smaller amount of bubbles and balls on the screen at any time. Less is better. So perhaps don't go crazy. So some of these levels I'm taking a little bit of time just to be careful. There we go, it's level, what's that? 13, 17? Oh, I've lost track now. Yeah, this is quite a tricky one. There's a kind of little trick you can do by sort of like holding yourself at the edge of a screen and pushing right and firing. And if you've got a, I don't know, what should we call the weapon? Spiral gun or something? Let's call it a spiral gun just for description's sakes now. But if you fire the gun up there like I'm doing now, and you're facing away from a ball bouncing into it, even if it looks like the ball's going to hit you, it will hit the spiral weapon first. So sometimes you can just sort of stay right to the edge of the screen and sort of just keep the fire button held down and you'll be safe. Unless you get sort of like two balls very in quick succession, so it gets you before you can get another shot of your spiral gun weapon off. So that's a little tip for you. And I guess you'll see a few of the little tricks I've done throughout the game, which should help you out. But yeah, guys, this is definitely well worth checking out. And really, one of the most fun games on the Amstrad, despite it sort of at times being really frustrating, especially a couple of later levels. I think it was like level 23 and level 27, 29 gave me real difficulty. But yeah, so there you go. I think I'm going to leave my commentary there, guys. I guess I'll have more to add on the next video. But yeah, I'm gonna sort of stick with my 8 out of 10. And I think I've stuck with 8 out of 10 because knowing that Zap T Balls, the advanced edition, on the next video is, you know, a lot better. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for Zap T Balls, but do check out the next one. And enjoy the rest of this, and I'll see you on the next video. Alright, cheers. Thanks, guys.